Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second episode podcast of Tabletop Trolls. I am Thomas, joined here by Colin.
Hello.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit, mostly, about character creation.
Indeed.
Yep. Thanks to our sponsor. We don't have one.
Exactly.
But, you know, someone will.
Much too small.
Thanks. Shout out to Aaron, again, because number 7 supporter.
Shout out to all the people who commented on the last video. It was nice to see kind of the start of like a little community that we got going. It's, cool to see.
I'd like to touch on the base of the Warhammer questions in there.
Yeah.
We have no idea the lore of it.
Well,
it's very extensive.
I've listened to the lore podcast for like 9 hours, but I'm still confused on bits and pieces. So like I have a little understanding, not a ton.
I downloaded Warhammer Tacticus. Pretty sure it's a mobile game, but I might play that and try and listening to some lore. And
it's really cool lore. Also, it's funny that it was brought up because after listening to the podcast, I was like, oh, some of these ideas I really like, and I'm gonna add to my campaign. So I should have a series coming out about making a campaign, and you might see some of those elements drop in there. And I'd like to have comments of like, hey, you should add this stuff to it. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we're always open to suggestions, especially about things going into campaigns. I know we're going to have a map making series that should be coming out here soon with 1 or 2 episodes. Colin's got a map that he's working on. I've got a map that I'm going to be working on here shortly. So yeah, I guess my first question for the day.
Oh, diving right into it.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go.
We're hitting
no more past episode talk. Into the content now.
Right into it now, for some reason.
Yep.
So, one of the basic things of D&D is the stats. I'm talking strength, charisma, all that stuff.
Yeah.
What do you see as the best way to get those stats? You have the standard array. You have the rolling.
Yep.
And then you have your point buy. What do you think is the best?
So I'd say out of all the campaigns I've done, I think I've only ever actually done rolling for stats because it's fun to roll shiny metal pieces or plastic rock stuff.
I do like my dice.
Numbers, they're cool.
Yes, math rocks.
I think you definitely get a more balanced campaign if you do point buy or standard array. So like, you don't have your one player who's like max stats and then the other who's like, oh, well, I have a 9. That's cool.
Yeah.
But I think, personally, I've always liked rolling. But I don't know. My next campaign, I might do like a standard or point buy system.
Yeah. When I usually run my campaigns, I do things a little bit homebrew style. The standard for rolling is 4d6 minus the lowest.
Yep.
I do the 5d6 minus the lowest. And I think I'm going to actually steer away from that. I was playing with a lot of newer players, and I wanted to make them feel like,
strong.
They're the ones that are the main characters.
Right, they're the main characters of their story.
Yeah.
So you want them to feel like the main characters of the story.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You have all your stats there. You have no negatives and stuff like that. So I think this next campaign that I'm going to end up making is, I think I'm going to do the point buy system, but I think I'm going to customize the point buy system.
Okay.
Now, I talked to you about this a little bit last night, and I'll bring it back up for these fellas here, is that the point buy system, you get 27 points, and you have all of the stats there.
They start at 8.
They start at 8,
yeah.
So instead of having the 27 points starting at 8, I'm going to give you start at 3, but you have 57 points to spend.
So if your character really wants to, they could just have like a 20 in strength, but then have like a 3 in charisma.
Yeah.
See, I think that'd be a great character idea because if you have like a barbarian and they just max their strength and constitution, and then they're just like really, really dumb.
Yep.
And as long as your player knows what they're getting into, I think that could be a great character.
I think that it really brings out the min-maxing idea.
Yeah. Although the only problem is I think you need like intelligence of 4 to know what a door does.
Yeah.
So,
you'd pretty much be you wouldn't really have the basic understandings of life,
right?
Essentially,
yeah.
So,
and like wisdom, they might not know the difference between like food and rocks. So
yeah,
it's a hard line to find.
It is.
They could play it off pretty cool. I think.
I'm sure that if you take like a 6 in intellect and wisdom, you wouldn't be terrible. And
yeah, you'd just be half as smart as the average person.
Yeah, and it'd work really well with martial classes, and I think it would be an even better role play tool.
Yeah,
like it's a constant reminder that you're an idiot and that you're not going to do much.
Or vice versa, you're super smart, but you are like frail as a
and then
fawn.
you could also still have your standard run of the mill equal everything, essentially.
Right.
So, you're always going to have some above average skills. You're always going to have some below average skills. And I think that the 5d6 rolling, you don't have anything below.
Yeah, usually your lowest is going to be like, what, 11 probably? 12?
I don't know. I've seen some people roll some pretty low stats.
I mean, the lowest you could hypothetically get is a 4.
Yes. But that's pretty hard.
But you gotta roll 5 ones.
Yeah.
Which isn't impossible. It's just your likelihood of doing that.
Yeah, the probability there is just pretty slim to none.
So while we're talking about rolling, I've never done it, but the rolling down the line for your stats. So like you roll say you roll like a 10, you have 10 in strength, then you roll again, you get a 12, or you have 12 in constitution. What do you think about that?
I don't mind it.
Okay.
I think the problem that I would have with it is I like to build my character off of class and backstory.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm rolling down the line, then I have to build my character off the rolls that I have.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily a bad thing because, you think about it, if you're a young traveler and pre-level 1, you're just a common folk.
Yeah.
So if you hit level 1, you're going to have your stats already, and that's when you choose the class that well fits you.
Yeah.
And
I think it
would help tie in with backstories and stuff.
Yeah, I think it can be fun. The only other thing is you can get pretty screwed over too.
Yes.
Where like you get like crap for strength, crap for dex, really high constitution, and then like high intelligence, and it's like, well, what am I gonna build?
Yeah, I mean, you'd
have to be a wizard.
Yeah, you'd have to build a tanky wizard or something like that.
It kind of can screw you over, but it also kind of can give you like what should I do with these stats? Because sometimes like it's almost more realistic of like, oh, well, I was born into having this.
Yeah.
But
it helps quite a bit to see all the different things that you can build when you do stats first.
Right. It also can help you explore more of your options because I know a lot of people play one class and then kind of be stuck in that and be like, oh, this is my class, I know what I do with this class, I'll just keep playing this class.
Yeah, I know it. I see a lot of new people. They most of them choose like fighter, paladin, barbarian. You don't see many spellcasters right away.
Yeah.
Because spellcasting, it is its own beast, in my opinion.
It's a little complicated for sure, yeah.
Once you get I think Bard might be the best spellcaster to start with.
Yeah. It definitely has elements where you can just kind of be they're kind of just jacks of all trades. Like they have a feature
that is jack of all trades, yes.
So like I don't know, you can just be like, I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm going to stab this dude,
Exactly, yeah. But, or I'm going to heat metal your armor, and now you're just melting with it. So
heat metal is its own thing.
So powerful.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the idea of that. I think it'd be really good, especially for one-shots. I think that would be like the best way to run one-shots because you're not going to be really focusing on character backstories with that.
Yeah, interestingly enough, when you do one-shots, do you make your characters? Do you make the characters or do you have your players make them? Because I think the best way to do a one-shot, in my opinion, is just to make these preset characters and give them to your players. Because the problem I've run into when I tried doing a one-shot and everyone made their characters is it takes forever.
Yeah, so when I have people make their characters for the one-shot, and I do have them, because A, it gets them really good at character building, and it gives them ideas.
That's fair.
It helps them branch out to other classes. Usually when I run a one-shot, I'm like, hey, if you want to make a pre-made character, that's fine. If you want to use one of your old ones and scale it to the level that we're going to be using, that's fine. If you want to make a brand new one, go for it.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
I guess
it depends what your one-shot's more oriented to. Because if you're doing a story beat, having pre-made characters
works the best.
Probably works the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
What I like is when I'm doing a one-shot, my very first campaign that I ever did was technically a one-shot because we never went back to it.
we kind of got sidetracked here, didn't we? This isn't exactly character creation.
Right, it's campaign creation.
Yes.
Well, we done goofed.
Well, continue your thought,
but anyway,
and then we'll get back to it.
So when I did the one-shot, I let them create their characters, and it ran really well, and it was just one big hunt. So essentially, you got the quest from the king. You went out, you killed the damn beast, came back.
Yep.
So that worked really well, but there's a one-shot idea that I really enjoy, and it's they build their characters. Okay. They do a light backstory. Brand new travelers. They go out.
Yep.
Try and dive into this dungeon.
Okay.
And if they die, they die. If one of them or two of them makes them out, then I'm going to do a whole new campaign, and that survivor is going to be one of the main. They're going to keep that survivor, essentially. Okay. And then there's another one off that idea is whatever one survives, that's going to be the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
The big bad evil guy.
Yeah.
So there are those options, but
yeah, you can also have dungeons that you do one-shots for. You can put them into your campaigns if you're already running campaigns, and the dead bodies in that dungeon
are the dead bodies,
are now your dead players. You know,
exactly.
That's always fun, especially if they're in that campaign. They're like, wait, that's me.
Yep. So we talked about the rolling for the stats. Now I got another question for you.
Yeah.
New races in the 5.5 stuff, which, be it as it may, a lot of the new stuff do not have ability score increases.
Yes. And I think I see what they're trying to get at with it, but I also don't fully love it. Yeah. So, like, it's one of those things where it's like, all right, does a Minotaur always need to get strength, right? It's
exactly.
Like, yeah. Well, no, you can have weaker Minotaurs that would be better at, like, intelligence or something.
Yeah.
So I understand where they're trying to get. I think it should... Is it where you get to choose an ability modifier, or is it just
I think they're trying to do away with the ability score improvements, because what I'm seeing is when I looked at the new player's handbook, there was a lot of, like, take Dragonborn for example.
Right.
You know, you used to have added charisma and then one other one of your choice. I think it was charisma and
thought it was Constitution.
Could be. So you have charisma and con. We'll say for example for the Dragonborn. Yeah. I don't remember what it actually is. So they took that away, and then they upped it. They gave him another skill called Draconic Flight.
Right.
So they're trying to give more racial bonuses, but have these skill bonuses dwindle down.
I'm not opposed to having more racial features, because I think they're fun. They give your character something unique about them.
Yep.
But I do like having stats with them.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a great character idea, but without the stats to back it up. Like, it used to be that you get your ability score improvement. You try and build your character and class with a specific race because of their improvements.
Right.
But there's so many different ways to make combinations and stuff. And I get that, you're always going to have that Dragonborn Bard because of that charisma bonus. Or a Halfling Bard kind of thing. Or not halfling, half-elf bard, because of all the
strength and charisma.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
You're going to have that Dragonborn Paladin, which is currently what I'm playing in my campaign.
Right.
So.
I mean, like, I do think that it opens up more diversity, because it's not like, okay, this race is good at this thing and this race is good at this thing. Like, it opens it up to be like, okay, you can play whatever race you want with whatever class.
Yep, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
I don't either. I think the way I would like it more is like they have one set skill bonus, but then you get to choose another one.
Yeah.
So like they have a base of like, all right, this race has a +1 strength, and then you get to choose what their +2 is or something like that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad because the +2 is where you get that specialty.
Right.
So you get...
Or you could even switch it where it's like if you want the +2 into strength and their base is strength, then you get to choose the +1
into something else.
Yeah.
I think it should be more diverse like that
Right.
because, you know, honestly, that's not even a bad idea. I might integrate that because, you know...
because like not every Dragonborn has to have strength, right?
Yeah, that's just racism.
Yeah, I mean, Goliath makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
But, like, not all Goliaths have to be dumb, you know? They can have
I definitely think
intelligence and stuff like that.
I think on top of that, instead of having the... you have the +1 that's set, but then you could add that +2 into the same thing.
So you're saying you could get a +3
3
into it?
Yeah.
That might just be a little overpowered, though.
Yes, but if you think about it, if that's what your class is specializing in,
Yeah.
you're going to be a little bit better in that class.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. And you are losing out on more rounded stats.
Yeah.
But
Your jack, I mean, you don't have to, but you could choose the 2 or the 1.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's definitely, I don't know. I haven't looked a ton into the 5.5 stuff.
yeah, neither have I.
But it's definitely interesting on where they're trying to take stuff.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
It'll be interesting on what happens with that. Yeah. I can ask you a question here.
Can you?
I can, yes.
Fine.
All right. What is your favorite homebrew for character creation?
Homebrew character creation.
That could be rolling your stat type stuff. That could be like special things you give to classes. Even, we'll say, equipment too, if you want to throw that in there.
So,
Or even like they get a bonus gold when they start or something like that, you know?
I have made a subclass before. A
Okay.
monk.
Oh,
And essentially, you're a waterbender.
okay.
Because my player was like, I really want to be a waterbender.
There kind of is that in...
Yeah, it's the way of the 4 elements.
Yeah, it's just you also get like fire, air, and earth. So
Yeah,
you
but
just
this one-
become the avatar.
Yeah,
you know?
essentially.
Yeah.
But this one was just straight up waterbending. And I made them haul around a gallon of water.
Of water.
Yeah,
You didn't
because-
just have them have a like skin, water skin.
No,
thing?
because
Yeah, no.
you make a weapon out of the water.
Yeah, I mean,
With just the water skin. But if I'm talking like later down the line, they were going to be able to put a massive wall of water
okay,
with what they had.
gotcha.
So they'd essentially stretch it.
Yeah.
And I was going to allow them to even do a little bit of blood bending.
Okay.
So we made that clash, and I kind of want to go back and I want to touch it up a little bit more because she didn't really play a whole lot with it. She played a couple of rounds with us and didn't. And then she had to go off and do a bunch of other stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think that one would have been really cool to see a little bit more developed to having more skills and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go back and
Look at that. Subclass, huh?
But
Yeah.
I think my favorite piece of equipment probably is the great axe.
Oh yeah.
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 I mean, the most common one that I use is just a regular sword.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't homebrew anything with those? No magical items that you made or anything?
Oh, I've made some pretty magical items and
Yeah.
stuff. So one of the campaigns that I was part of as a player, we got to make our magical weapons,
Oh.
and we were going to get them at a certain time. So I made my bow
Okay.
because I was a ranger.
Yep.
This was my H-0 Warforged.
Okay.
So I made it that I had 5 charges on this bow.
All right.
Each charge was a D10,
Okay.
and it did lightning damage.
All right.
So I could choose how many I expended,
Yep.
and it would determine the glow on the bow. So if I wanted to
Gotcha.
charge up the shot,
Yeah.
it would take a turn, but I would say, I'm going to charge my 3 shots. And it would just charge for that turn, and then
Okay.
I'd have to wait till my next action to actually get.
Actually shoot.
Yeah.
What happens if you miss? Do you use those charges?
It depends.
Okay.
if I specify that I'm shooting down, there was a radius on the spell. So I know I got into a fight with someone at one point, and I was like, they had deflect missile because they were a monk, and I was like, well, I'm not shooting you anymore. And he's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, I'm going to aim for your big toe, and if I miss, you're still getting hit. And he goes, that's cheeky. And I was like, I know.
Yeah, that's fair.
So they've also had healing amulets. Right now, one of our players has a magic item to clone themselves, and they can jump.
But to their clone.
And they all look like her. It's an illusionary thing.
Yep.
And if she jumps to it, where she previously was switches. So that's a clone too. Yeah. So she can jump through the 4 of them.
Gotcha.
But if they take one, if they get a swing, it doesn't matter. They don't have an AC. Yeah. They just have 1 hit point.
Okay.
So it's like a poof.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
But it expels an action for that bad guy.
Gotcha.
So I really like that one. That one was a really clever one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a lot of magical items built in my days.
That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I think I've always liked homebrew races. So I had a pirate campaign, and one of my players was like, I want to be a frog. So he's a frog person. I forget.
Kermit the Frog.
I forget what the race is called, but his whole thing was like, I want to specialize in jumping. So instead of like laying down like ropes or planks to get to the other boat, he just jumps
to it
from one boat to the other. And he had a jump, or one of the guys had a jump spell, which essentially I think it triples your jump. And
wow,
he could jump like 60 feet. So he would literally just jump from his boat to the other boat. And he was I want to say he was a monk. So it was even better.
Because, my.
Yeah, so he was just flying across.
That's actually really smart.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool homebrew.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I think the heron, the rabbit, that one has a jump too.
Yeah. So he was just jumping from like
boat to boat.
And it was a lot of fun. It was really hard to run in combat because it's like, all right, they're in naval warfare and also melee warfare because this guy jumped all the way over to the boat. Yeah.
So I'm going to take a moment here to have a brief intermission. If you guys want to look on the screen, we have a couple of maps showing up. The Mythindel one, that is the Dragonlight campaign map, that first map that you saw there. That is Maps Homebrew. We used Incarnate. It's a really nice map for what we're doing. It's got all the towns. The Wormmire is where we started, and we're currently heading over to Fern Gully, the middle of the map there, on our quest in that campaign. The second map that you see, the one with the volcano in the center of the island, that one is the island that
we're currently playing on.
That you guys are currently playing on, the Witch Hunt campaign.
Yep.
And that one is I don't remember what the island is named, because I don't think the island has a name. Because the town is named Cape Capybara.
Was it just Capybara Island, or
it was Cappy Island.
Cappy Island.
That's what we called it, because the first group that was there named it.
Right.
And so there's that island that has Cape Capybara, and then whatever the fishing village is there off the right side. They built that, and then a handful of other things. That's the map that I created, and then the smaller map that looks like a town map that is Cape Capybara.
Yeah, that's the town that we're currently building up and stuff.
Yep. Yeah. So it's got all the stuff on there.
Yeah.
So if you guys are interested in seeing your art on our slideshows, you can send them into our email. They'll be listed in the description below.
Yep.
And they're on our YouTube channel too.
If you have character art, maps, anything like that, really. Any D&D art, even if that one guy who was talking about Warhammer has some Warhammer art, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, we'll throw that up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mind that.
But yeah, just kind of cool to have it cycle through while we talk,
Yep. So I know it's only 3 images, but it's better than the 1.
Yep.
Ha. So we have 4 images now.
We have 4 pictures.
Yay.
All right. Well, we are at 25 minutes now, so
yeah.
We have a couple more questions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you talked about the home brewing of the race.
Yeah.
What is your favorite race and class combo?
Ooh, so in a campaign that my friends and I were doing, I played a tiefling warlock that his subclass was Hexblade. And that campaign setting, tieflings weren't liked very much, and warlocks weren't liked very much either.
Perfect.
So there was a lot of hate towards my character, and my character was just a simple farmer that picked up a blade from like his ancestry type thing. And
Gotcha.
so there's like a demon or whatever that's in the blade, and that's where my power came from. But my guy's just a farmer. His name was Jarst Farman.
Jarst.
So if you say it fast enough, it's just farming.
Just farming.
Yeah.
Just farming.
Jarst Farman.
Just farming.
Yeah. But that was a lot of fun. I really like the features that the Hexblade Warlock gets. So they get to like mark their enemy, and they get a crit on like 19s and 20s.
Yeah.
They can do different spells, and later on they can like teleport to their mark and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed that class. As far as race, I don't know. I kind of jump around a lot.
There's so many races.
Yeah.
And so many races work so good with so many different subclasses too.
Right. I think that character is probably one of my favorite right now. I do like Antonio
de Casa House?
Yeah, the Duende de Casa or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Duende de Casa House.
He's a goblin swashbuckler.
Yep.
And he's been pretty fun. He's got a little sad backstory because he's a rogue, but you know,
and he's got to have that emo backstory,
right,
because
right.
obviously he's a rogue.
So he's pretty fun to play too. But we'll see where he goes in the next couple sessions.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think my favorite character right now, the H-0, my Warforged Ranger, probably holds the biggest stone in my heart, because that bow was like the peak of anything that I've got. Granted, it's an overpowered magical item. I mean, there's no reason that I should have had that, but I did.
Yeah.
So I played him for quite a while. I also played, the standard run-of-the-mill bard.
Oh, yes.
Like, I was a female half-elf.
Okay.
That, was just going around.
Oh my. I played a soft-spoken half-orc bard once.
Oh, yeah?
That was pretty fun. I wasn't as much role-playing as I wanted in the campaign, so I couldn't explore half-orc bard. Yeah. But it was a fun time.
I think one that I really want to try, and there's two that I really want to try, because I thought of this one a while back ago, too. The monk that I'm making for your campaign.
Yes.
That would be really funny.
Yeah.
Especially if it was the Warforged one. But,
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't really fit in the campaign very well. I
can see what I can think of to make it fit, but we'll see.
Yeah. Another one that I really thought of was another Warforged one. Because Warforged probably is my favorite race.
Yeah, you like your robots.
I do like my robots.
Yeah.
So I really want to do a Battlesmith Artificer as a Warforged.
So
it's
you
a Warforged
are your armor?
Yeah. So a Warforged making Warforged.
Okay.
I don't know if it's Battlesmith. It's whatever one has the battle buddies.
Right.
So I could make like little
You're
guys.
a robot who makes more robots.
Yes.
You're essentially like the Skynet in Terminator, where you just start making more robots.
Kind of. More like Ultron, I would say.
Okay. Yeah.
Ultron, or even like Rodney Copperbottom from Robots, fixing robots and stuff.
Okay, I see it.
I kind of want to try that one out too. I think that one would be pretty funny.
See, the real question is, do you want to do that as a player character, or could even
NPC?
Be a really good villain?
It could be a really good villain, yeah.
Of like, oh, we finally got him. Oh wait, no, it was just one he made to look like him, and it's a different robot.
Yeah,
like that could be fun.
Really funny to do that guy as the villain, but at the same time have a robot army that they have to face. And the Warforged were in Eberron. They were used to attack giants and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it'd be really funny if the characters were teamed up with the Owens and went to war with them.
That'd be cool.
So that'd be a pretty cool thing. That'd be really based
cool
off
campaign.
Eberron. That would be decent.
Yeah.
I might have to do that too. So
many campaign ideas. That's the problem is like you make a campaign and you start playing it and you're like, oh, I have another campaign idea though.
Yeah, you go and you're starting to make your campaign. You're like, man, I want to play this. So yeah. I think that Warforges are definitely my favorite race.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah.
Because I also saw a homebrewed Warforged idea that there was 3 different types of Warforges.
Oh.
There was like the lighter one.
Yep.
Who had a little bit more dex. And
right.
They could have been more rogue based. There was a medium one where you could be using as like any of the run of the mill ones. But then there was also a heavy armored one.
Okay.
So you would have for the light armor you'd have the 13 plus dex. So your AC would be like on average 16.
Okay.
You have the medium armor one, which would put you at 17, and then you had your heavy armor one, which put you at 18.
Okay.
So it's natural armor, essentially. So I think that would be a pretty cool
that could
brew
be
idea too.
Could be interesting.
Instead of the +1 to the AC, because you would think that you're a robot, but
yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, they could specialize robots. That could be a cool campaign of like you're a specialized robot unit. So if you die, like you have it where the characters die a lot, but when they die, they just come back to a new body because they're robots.
They just get downloaded into a new body.
That could be a cool campaign.
As well as,
it's like a endless horde of robots, and they're just getting thrown at battles and stuff. Your roleplay could be a little interesting, but I think that'd be a cool campaign idea. You just a bunch of robots that get dismantled and then come back and run into a war again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'll just do one more question. We'll probably wrap it up after that.
Yeah, got to cut down our times on the podcast.
Yeah. So having your backstory, right? If you're a player character, I personally really like it as a DM if my players kind of already have a like backstory conjoined together.
Yeah.
So like whether it's like friends, siblings, whatever it may be.
Yep.
Or even like you don't like each other, I think that makes a campaign feel so much more, I don't want to say like real, but like
more in depth.
Yeah, more in depth. It drives the players more too because it's like, all right, I already know this character,
It really helps to have not matching backstories, but predetermined backstories. Like these two characters know each other; they're building their races off of it. Like, Zephyr and Borealis.
Yes.
In our witch hunt campaign, they're brothers,
right?
And they both wanted to do the bard, and then they're both going to have a multi-class for a little bit special, but they're really good together.
Right.
If they're together, anything that they roll for, I take the highest number for both of them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much advantage.
Yeah, they pretty much have advantage all the time, but only when they're together. Yeah.
When they're apart, it's disadvantage. I take the lowest of them. So they both roll for it.
Right.
And then I take the lower number.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a cool way. Like, it's kind of special in their case because, like, they wanted to be like a
they wanted to be conjoined at the hip, pretty much.
Right.
They wanted to truly have that twin.
Right. Where it's like, other characters, like if you're friends or something, it's nice to have that. Like, all right, I already know this person in the group, so then like it gives you a little more easier role play to play off of those two, and then to like rope it in with the whole group. I think it's a lot easier to do that.
Indeed. Backstory creation, I think it's very important to have that session 0 because I've had some where it's just like, and the first time worked fabulously. All 10 players just had a backstory that aligned, and I could all work it into it.
Yeah,
and then your group. Wild cards.
Yeah, I mean, like, having 10 characters have a backstory that kind of goes together, that's pretty wild that you didn't do with session 0.
It was I based my campaign off of the piracy. That's the what did we name that campaign? I don't remember. Or the Pirate's Life, that's what we called it.
Yep.
So I made that campaign for the sheer fact It was all new players. It was going to be one that I could easily do things with.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
there are some of them that had their incomplete storylines because there's 10 players.
You're right. You're gonna, and it's new players. I feel like new players definitely sleep on a backstory, or there's two sides to the coin.
Yeah.
It's either short backstory that you're like, well, I don't know what to do with this. It's not even a sentence, or it's like 3 pages of backstory.
Yeah.
And you're like,
no in between.
Yeah, and you're like, I can't use this. It doesn't fit the campaign.
Yes. I think a lot of people, I think the most important thing to a backstory is why you are out traveling.
Yeah.
Were you cast out?
Were your parents mysteriously murdered, like every rogue ever?
Yeah, I lost my parents. No, my parents had a loving family. And you're a rogue? Yeah. I mean, I got all the attention and love that I wanted. So why are you out stealing stuff? I want to steal.
Yeah.
The horse from over the garden wall.
Yeah.
I want to steal.
Steal. Yeah, I think there's a fine line of like, hey, I want to have my backstory be detailed, and I should talk to my DM about that, and I'm going to write a book about my character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, you should have stuff like that written down. So if a character PC ever like asks like, what's this with your family? I think you should have that prepped.
Right.
I don't think you should give that to your DM for a backstory though.
Yeah. Well, I think
the DM should have it.
Yes.
I don't think they need to like be a big part of everything.
Yeah. Well, I think the only part that they should be like a big part of is making sure it fits into the campaign.
Yes.
And not like, oh, you were given magical powers by some random god and now you're like this super being. It's like, no, you're level 2. Like, calm down.
Yeah. I think that, I used to be really high level and like I was a great wizard.
Yeah.
But I have amnesia. Kind of forgot what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I'm now really low tier on my list. Like, that's not bad.
It's not bad, yeah. It's just...
And
I think that could be a fun character. Because then, like, if you have a bunch of people that, like, know you, right? Like, in the backstory, like, oh, you're a well-known wizard. All these people are like, oh, it's whoever. And you're like, who are you?
They're hyping you up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have Alzheimer's and you have a bunch of notes that you have to look for in your book to figure out what you have to cast.
Yeah, I saw this thing, I think it was on Instagram the other day, and it's like, I find it really funny if spellcasting was like programming, where it's like, I don't know why this part of the spell has to be here, but it has to be here. Like, I have to hold potato in the air when I cast fireball, or else it doesn't work. Why? I don't know, but I do. It's like, well, what happens if you don't? I can't cast fireball.
It's really funny. What do you need for night vision or dark? There's a dark vision spell, I think there is, or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And it requires a carrot.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really funny pieces to some spells.
Yeah. Anyways, random spell tangent there.
Yep.
Yeah. But
it's totally a whole podcast about character creation. Totally.
Yeah, we didn't go off the rails at all.
No.
Just like a normal good D&D campaign. Stuck on the rails and didn't get sidetracked at all.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, it's not that bad. It's still D&D related.
Yeah.
So
we didn't go and steal a random boat like my character wanted to.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways.
So
yeah.
I don't think I got anything else to talk about.
Yeah,
really.
I think that's about it.
A little bit shorter of a podcast. We're trying to cut it down a little bit.
Yeah, just slightly. But yeah, I think that was a good podcast there. So
sure. If you guys made it this far, you might as well like and subscribe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm shocked that you watched this far. So
yeah, honestly, I don't even think I'll watch this far.
Yeah, so if you watch this far, maybe give us a like keep it going or like a good podcast in the comments, and we'll know who it is,
and I'll know that Cole didn't watch it, just like he didn't watch the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the heck, Cole?
Yeah, Cole. This is your homework. You said I should assign homework. Well, this is it.
Anyways, so yeah, thanks for listening if you got this far, and we'll probably have a couple more videos coming out next week.
Yep, so hopefully we should have another map video next week.
Yeah. So, thank you, and we'll catch you next time.
We'll see you later, trolls.